So this is Rosie, and it took me a few days to figure her out, but I guessed right finally on how to trap her. And she's hungry, probably dehydrated, and scared. But as soon as I get my act together, I'm going to take her out and let her go in the backyard, and she'll be a lot happier out there. I finally caught her in a live trap using water and dog food. And I am really hoping she's the only one in here. She's the only one I've seen. So we'll just see if putting her out ends my adventure in wildlife for now. Yeah, I know, sweetheart. Give me a few minutes and then we'll put you outside.
Hello, Flosstube. I'm Debi. Welcome back to Grandma's World. I have no idea how this is going to go today. Assuming that I am successful in clipping in my little wildlife adventure before this, I will just tell you, it's been a weird week here. It seems to get weirder and weirder as time goes by. So little Rosie, I put her out in the backyard. Opossums here are actually quite desirable, at least as far as I'm concerned. They eat ticks by the hundreds, and since we do occasionally here, I know a man whose wife died of Lyme disease, leaving him with a 2-year-old to raise. So yeah, I don't mind if I have an opossum or 2 or 4 or however many I have living in my backyard. So I put Rosie out. I left her some water and some dog food to help her make the transition from obviously falling off her mother. When a baby opossum falls off its mother here, they're on their own. She doesn't try to get them back up. So Rosie, obviously, she was only little. She was about 8 inches long, maybe. And that's about the size they are when they go off on their own. So, like I said, she obviously fell off of mom, made her way into my house, lived in my sewing room closet for a few days, came out a couple of times. The first time I saw her was Sunday night. I was blissfully in my sewing room, in my recliner, with my feet up, caught something out of the corner of my eye. 2 hours later, convinced myself I'd made it all up. It was just my imagination. And just in time to watch her kind of bounce like this across the room and go into the closet. So I tried a few things to try to, I thought I had a rat. And I spent, over the last 5 years, close to $20,000 in extermination, getting my house pest-free, more or less pest-free. And I wasn't happy with the idea that I had a rat in my house, because I've had them in my attic and occasionally in my house for many years. And I thought I'd finally taken care of that. So anyway, as it was bouncing across the room, I went, that doesn't look like a rat to me. It wasn't moving like a rat. And sure enough, over the next few days, I found evidence. These were not rat droppings. This was something else in good old YouTube. And I was able to put the pieces together and realize I had a baby opossum in my house. So I finally caught her in that live trap that you saw. I used water and a little bit of dog food as bait. And the thing hanging on the bait hook on that trap was a peanut butter cup. And so she ate all the dog food and half the peanut butter cup and tipped over the water, I think. So she was probably pretty dehydrated when I went to take her outside. She never hissed at me. She made a little bit of a startle and moved away from me when I picked up the trap, kind of pushed toward the outer edges of it. But before I even hit the door out of the happy room, she had calmed down. And I took her through the house and took her to the backyard and let her go near where I'd left the dog food in the water for her to make that transition to be wild again before she started figuring out where the good things to eat were in my yard. And she just calmly walked out of the trap and hung a left and went into the tall grass and weeds that I have in my backyard right now. And I will probably never see her again. So it was an adventure. It was something that I was focused on for several days. As soon as I realized it wasn't a rat, I was actually okay with her being there. And it was just a matter of where to put her, because she didn't belong in the house. She needed to be outside. So I got her out, but I wasn't comfortable in that room with her in there. Partly because I wasn't real sure that she was actually solitary at that point. But I reset everything and I haven't caught anything new. So I think she was by herself. I think she had fallen off of Mom and made her way into the house for safety. So at any rate, that was the wildlife adventure for the week. Obviously the universe knows that I welcome all creatures, great and small, here, and so it decided to give me a little adventure. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know where to start. I'm still befuddled like I was last time I did a report. I couldn't believe all the mistakes I made. And the funniest was that Bradley Cooper mistake. He's an actor, right? That's why his name sounded familiar to me. No, Barry Clifford found the widow. And so I learned something new. I'm learning all kinds of things now. I know how to put little captions into my YouTube videos so that I can correct myself like crazy. So today I want to make a Mania report. I did manage to do a little bit of stitching on, at least get my Mania projects started for the week, although they weren't always on the day. Like I said, I wasn't comfortable being in the sewing room until I got Rosie moved out. And so I was trying to stitch in my office chair. My computer is in my bedroom, and so I was trying to stitch in the chair there, and it just wasn't the same, and I couldn't see. And anyway, I did manage to stay on top of Mania, but that was about it. So as far as progress, the only thing that I have actually made progress on, that I actually worked on, that wasn't a Mania start, was my Shores of Hawk Run Hollow, and I managed to finish the middle box for that. So that's that. And that is the only progress I've made other than Mania starts. So I'm going to move from that into haul, because I do have a lot of haul. And starting with, I don't know if you remember the story about this color. The Shores of Hawk Run Hollow chart calls for, if you're using the DMC conversion, it calls for 310 black. And the picture, I felt, showed a much softer color. It was more of a brown. And again, I had a long conversation with my LNS owner about photo saturation and how the charts that you're buying are not necessarily going to come out the way that the artist sent them in because of the photographic process. So to me, these didn't look like black. Looking at them closely, they don't even now. They look like they're a dark brown, and they look like they're a variegated to me. They're soft, almost like a fur. So I wasn't going to do these in black. I went through my stash and I found a color called Swamp Water that I think was a week's, but I only had one skein of it. And so I knew it wasn't going to do all of the rest of the blocks. So I've done the middle one here, and I still have 10 more to go smaller. They're smaller, but it's still a lot of floss. So I needed another color. I either needed more of the swamp water or I needed a different color. And that's why I only did the center box. My original plan was to do all of the borders first on all of the boxes and then go and fill them in. And I just stopped after this first box because I didn't know what color to use. My local needle workshop we're in phase 2 in California now, and I contacted her to see what process she had in place in phase 2, that I could email her a list of what I needed, and do curbside pickup. And she said that actually another option for shops like hers was appointment, to shop by appointment, so that you were the only person in the shop. And that's what she had been doing for a while. So I emailed her my list. Now I'm converting over from DMC to Anchor, and she sells Anchor. So what I did was go online. I found a chart that had DMC colors, what the Anchor conversion was, and then I communicated my disclaimer that I understood that she and her partner, her business partner, knew their stock and knew those conversions probably better than anybody else on the internet did. And if she could think of a better conversion, that she should go ahead and make the better conversion. And I trusted them to do that. So what I ended up with, and this is coming from, my list is my buying charts for Mania and rating my stash of charts for Mania and not having all the colors I needed, while I'm trying to convert my collection over to Anchor. I'm not so much I'll replace the DMC with DMC as long as I can, but in some cases I'm just going to make a little note in my the way I store them, that if I'm out of this color, go over and look at the Anchor collection for this other color. I'm going to start communicating that. So when I got there, this is what they had prepared for me, and I hope I can show this to you. So there are 90 skeins, 90 colors that are going to be distributed among maybe 20 different projects, because I don't think I had any, except the Shores of Hawkrun Hollow, I don't think I have any charts that have all of the floss I need. So that was really lovely to see, to walk in and see this all laid out. But then, and the reason I made the appointment to go in rather than do curbside pickup is that I needed to match some colors. And one of the color I needed was this color. She did not have any swamp water. So I went to Threadworx. I really like their thread, and they have this one that I think I'll be able to do all the other boxes in this. And all they put is a number on here, but it has a color name that I don't remember right now. But I think that's going to be great. So I was happy to find that one. And it's a 20 yard skein for about $4, which is a really good price. And Threadworx is mostly what I used on my Let Joy Be Unconfined. It was really nice to work with. So I have that one, and then I'm also doing 2 primitive Hare pieces, the Mermaid of Salem Bay and Mother of the Ocean, and I have not been able to get the Gentle Arts floss for that. My shop carries Gentle Arts, but they didn't have what I needed. So we spent a lot of time kind of finding replacements, and that's what these are. These are me trying to be proactive at possibly not being able to find the colors for Mermaid of Salem Bay and Mother of the Ocean. So I might be working these in somehow. And then these also for the whale on Mother of the Ocean. This is Gentle Arts Black Licorice and Black Crow. And once I get the colors in that I do have, and work those into the fabric, then it'll tell me which of these to go to next as a conversion from what I can't find. In the meantime, I think I found another supplier online, and I went ahead and ordered at a pretty unreasonable price, but I really do want to use the called for colors in those two charts. So it was the shipping that was out of line, but I paid it anyway. And then I also, one of the called for colors is uniform blue for one of those charts. And so I was able to get, I went ahead and got 3 skeins of that because at least they had it, and this gives me a starting place to put other colors in. And then Shores of Hawk Run Hollow and both of these other things use a gray. So I went ahead and picked up 2 of the Threadworx gray variegated threads to use on those. She had 1 onyx left, so I picked up that one, which is, I'm using it in a different chart, and I can't remember which one. I just know that, oh, I know, it's one of these. I think it's the Mermaid of Salem Bay, I'm not sure. But it's one of the primitive Hare charts, so I had got 1 more of those, and I found another one in my stash when I was looking through it the other day. And then finally, I bought Victorian Motto Samplers Harvest with the birds and the birds all around it. And I had already decided that I wanted to do it on a soft green with a pink variegated color. And so I grabbed these while I could at my needle workshop, but I have also ordered it from Mrs. Sadis in Spain, and she's already shipped it, so we'll see how it compares. I haven't used silk before, but everybody raves about her threads, and so I decided to go ahead and order some, including the pinks, and we'll see when they get here which ones I want to use to do that harvest, but it's a ways in the distance. So that was the only other thing I got at the needle workshop. Excuse me, I beg your pardon. I got some rings to hold these things that have drops on them, and I can't get them open. They're too tight with my arthritis. That they're kind of hard to get open. So I ordered on Amazon. They haven't been delivered yet, but I ordered some. There's cables used. They have a twist clasp, and they use them for keychains. And so I'm going to use those for these things and not try to pull that on and off all the time. And then I bought some needles from them. Everybody raves about all the different brands of needles. Excuse me. And I don't have a problem usually with even DMC needles. My favorites are Peacemakers needles, and I have visited their store many times, and I always stock up. But since I leave them in projects, and I might leave several with different threads on them in projects, I run out of needles all the time. So these, I just asked one of the owners of the LNS, what do you like? What do you prefer to use? And she sold me one called the Bohin, or Bohin, B-O-H-I-N. And I used it the first day that I brought them home. I used it on the project I was working on. It was like sewing with jewelry. What a difference. So I can see myself kind of restocking my needle collection over time with a better quality needle. So that was my purchase there at the shop. I had an appointment and had to really rush through, so I was grateful that they had taken the time to lay all this out for me. And now I've got it laid out again, and I have to pull out all of I have lists by project of what goes where, so I have to sort that out. So now I'm in haul, and the other haul that's come in has been mostly fabric. Okay. So I've been on this fabric hunt, and specifically for 2 projects. One of them was the Mother of the Ocean. I wanted the Parliament for that one. And then that's a primitive Hare pattern. And then the Nimue pattern, which is to start this week, I'm looking for a green to do on that. And I had ordered from PictureThisPlus in February and had to move the project around in Mania because the fabric hadn't come in yet. They'd said 5 to 7 weeks, and 2 months later it still wasn't here. And that was I know that with coronavirus, it's the shipping routes have all for the post office, the delivery routes have all changed. So it wasn't a big deal. I just really want to get started on that, and I had to move it in the calendar and all that. So anyway, the fabric came in last week, and I'm fine with this one. I could do that on this one. This one is called Moss. So this is what it looks like. So I could do it on this one. This one is called Lily Pad, and I don't like it for this project. I like it as a fabric. I'll use it at some point, but not for this project. The one that I really love is this one. It has that dark, deep forest look where a fairy baby would be, they would be kind of in hiding. So I really love this color. I will need to probably change out some of the leaf colors so that they will show up on it better, but this is the one that I want to use for this. And I get to start it today. So I'm really happy that they were able to cross all the hurdles and that my woodland was actually delivered to me. And the parchment that I've been looking for, I finally was able to get through Stitchery Express, and I am going to be showing you my progress on that in just a minute. Other things that came in this week, fabric-wise, this one just came today. And I don't remember ordering this at all. It's from Magic Hour Cross Stitch, and I must have been looking frantically for the parchment color because that's what color this is. So this is very pretty, and I can see myself using this. I'm ordering everything in a 16 Aida. And if you're new here, it's because even though I love the way things look on linen, I had a detached retina repaired, and I have a little scar left from that, and it makes my lines kind of wavy. Most of the time my brain compensates, and if that were the only issue, that wouldn't be prohibitive to me doing linen. The other thing that goes on with me is that I have essential tremor, and when you get the shaky hands in with the wavy lines, linen is challenging, and I'm really trying to limit the amount of linen that I work on. So I'm ordering things in a 16 or an 18 Aida and hoping that it gives the same effect. So far I'm happy with it. So far I'm happy. This is the one that blew me away yesterday. I've ordered some fabric from BeStitchMe that hasn't come in yet. I won 2 pieces in the FNFN last Friday night, or I purchased them, and they haven't come in yet, but I also joined their Fabric of the Month Club, and I joined the color part of it, and this was what came in. this week. I cannot tell you how much I love this fabric, and it pretty much is the color of my sewing room. So I will be able to use that. Do I have that? Last week I shared, and it's tucked away, my Be Well and Stitch, Let Joy Be Unconfined. That fabric would look good with this. So I was so delighted with this when it came in. Yeah, just yesterday. I really was thrilled with it. And then also haul-wise, I think these count. I went and ordered from Stitching the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch, Priscilla and Chelsea. I went to their Etsy store and ordered some of their charts. I just gave in. I said, oh, these are just getting cuter and cuter, and I'm gonna have them in my collection, and I'll see where it goes from there. But and I was able to find this tin at Michael's months ago, so I have the tin to do the finish on these. I got Peep, which is their little chickie. Peep and Crunch were the two springy Easter ones that I downloaded. They're only $5 on their Etsy store to print them off. And then for the 4th of July, I got from the What's in My Cup series, the Stars and Stripes with Uncle Sam in the cup. And then actually my favorite of all of them is this one. This is USA with the eagle in the cup, which cracks me up. And then I think my final thing to share haul-wise, I'm going to share this one in a minute. I had ordered a lot of stuff from Soda Stitch, and in the course of dealing with the order, you know how the Amazon or just the algorithm for a lot of the things that you do on the computer, let's just put it that way. When you buy something, they say, oh, well, if you like that, you might like this. That's what happened with this. It sent, the algorithm sent me a picture of someone's finished piece based on the fact that I had ordered from Soda Stitch. And I traced the piece back to Soda Stitch, and I wasn't able to get it from them, but I was able to buy it on Amazon, and it's these mermaids. And I am hoping to do them as Christmas tree ornaments. Because I'm redecorating my guest room, and I'm going to put a Christmas tree in there for the holiday, and I would like to hang these on there. The other thing I wanted to share before I do the Mania report, someone on so I'm in a couple of cross stitch Facebook groups, and someone posted something this morning. I went and looked a couple of things up, and when I went back to respond to it, the post was gone. So I don't know what that was all about, but I wanted to share anyway. Their concern was for the magazine World of Cross Stitch. She had heard that those magazines weren't going to be coming anymore, and was happily surprised, sharing and happily surprised that she got the World of Cross Stitch. It has a toucan on the cover this time for this month. And she was sharing that they had sent some kind of communique out. She thought that some of those British magazines were kind of shutting down right now, and we're not going to be delivering for a while. You know, kind of don't expect them. So that's why she was so delighted to get the World of Cross Stitch. I've been using, I love those magazines. The UK magazines, I tend to buy about one a month. Here in the United States, I can get them at Michael's, or I can get them at Barnes & Noble, or I can get them at Joann. I can't get them at Michael's, I can get them at Joann. But they're $14 a copy, $13.99, which is a little pricey. And they're in a plastic bag, so I can't go through and see is there going to be a chart in there? Usually my rule is there have to be 2 things in a cross-stitch magazine that I might be interested in doing before I buy it. But I can't pre-check them because they're sealed in a plastic bag. So I was really interested when Anna from Stitch Roadies mentioned a service called Readly. It's a magazine service and it's $9.99 a month. And they carry lots of magazines. But what interested me is they carry Cross Stitch Crazy, World of Cross Stitch, Cross Stitch Gold, Cross Stitcher. They carry just Cross Stitch, and then they have a lot of the compilations, the 365 projects, the Christmas, the Halloween, and you can get select back issues going back 2 or 3 years. Not all of the back issues necessarily, but a lot of them. So they give you a lot to look at, and I've been with it now for 2 or 3 months, and the most recent copies are coming in. So like right now, I was just looking, I think it was just Cross Stitch, their June 2020 issue was up. And I am so thrilled with this. Let me go ahead and pull this up. I found this one. I didn't even know this existed. This is Sampler and Antique Needlework from fall of 2015. And what you can do is flip through it. Oh, not that way. Go through a page at a time. And what I'm interested in this one is, I'm kind of assuming you can't really read those charts. They have this, I'm going to show me the picture, this little setup here. They have all the charts for that in there. And the way you can get the chart on an iPad is you push the home button and the power button at the same time. It'll take a screenshot down here that goes into my gallery, and then I have an AirDrop computer, a wireless printer, not computer, a wireless printer, and I can just go and send the chart, not the ad, I can send the chart for what I want here into, oh, there it is. Send it to my printer and print off the charts. And they print off quite nicely in color. Just an FYI, I have a Hewlett-Packard printer and I get Hewlett-Packard Instant Ink, which I pay a $4.99 a month fee. My printer communicates with Hewlett-Packard. Hewlett-Packard keeps track of my ink levels, and before I need it, they send me ink to put into my computer when I run out. So I don't, there's a fee. I think I get 100 copies a month, and then there's a charge per page after that. But even that is not as much as taking it to Staples to do it. So anyway, Readly is working out really well for me. And if indeed it turns out that we're not able to get those magazines for a while, at least I can go and enjoy looking through back issues, and I don't have any problem with that. I think I've probably downloaded 50 charts at this point that I may or may never get to. But for the most part, I really like them. This was one, a lobster. I won't put it up there very long, a blue lobster. And there's another one with a crab, a blue crab, that I may use for my bedroom, my guest bedroom. So I just wanted to share that. Thanks, Anna. It was a good move. I don't know if you kept it, but I kept it, and I'm really enjoying it. All right, so the Mania got very disrupted this week because of Rosie the Opossum and some other things that were going on in my week. And I'm just befuddled still with all of the adjustments that we're all having to make with coronavirus, but we'll get there, and I'm getting there. And so I did make progress, and on the first day I got to work with, oh, by the way, this is the project bag I made for this, and it is Primitive Hare's The Mermaid of Salem Bay, And I've been to Salem Bay. I'm really excited to do her. And I was able to, and I did buy the linen just because the linen is so stunning with this. It's behind it, maybe it'll help. Look at that ship. It's a map background with a ship. And this is what I finished on start day here. And that's part of her tail. And what I was thrilled to notice as I was working with this chart is that she has large sections of the same color. It's not all confetti. And this was one of the reasons I went for some of the variegated threads that I did. And I do have, excuse me, my fingers are crossed because I ordered a bunch last night. And I'm really hoping it's not a fly-by-night, not warning me that they're out of something and that they do actually come in, because she had all the colors I need. And I ordered double skeins, 2 of each, to make sure I had enough. But I was happy with that, happy with my start on that, and happy that with what I accomplished. Happy that I'm going to have nice big sections of the same color and not have to be confettiing the whole thing. Thank you, Izzy, for that. So that was on last Friday. And then on Saturday, I want to say that something happened on Saturday that I had an issue with this and could only do it on Friday night, or on either Saturday night or Sunday. I guess it was Saturday night I did it. So this is to celebrate the first day of spring. Originally I had scheduled this for the first day of spring, but some of my stuff still hasn't come in for other projects, so I had to switch them out for this day and move this one up. But this is called Spring Hare, and I was able to do didn't even finish a whole length on this one, but I got part of this butterfly in here. I got the brown part of this butterfly in here done. So, and it's on a color called Haven. And I loved this color for this piece so much. And I went and ordered an even bigger piece of it for the humpback whales that I'm doing. And when I reported on that, I didn't know the color. So yeah, that's all I got. Just not even half of the length, but I did get it started. And it was one of those things that was late at night. And I will say that one of the things I'm liking about Mania is it's like I don't want to go to bed until I've at least started it. And so I'm getting more started. I'm able to do more because I'm getting more started. And giving some thought, I'm watching all your reports, and of course this is my Garan toten bag for April. I'm watching your reports and seeing how you're dealing with these projects and how they're going to continue on over time. And I haven't decided yet. One part of me wants to just keep working. You know, the one I started on the 1st, I'll do on the 1st of next month, and the one I started on the 2nd, I'll work on, or, you know, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So the 10th, and again, this is one that got moved around. So I think I already showed you this one last week. This is the Nubble Lighthouse. I know I did. I showed you this one. So this was from the 7th. But I had another Nubble pattern, another chart from By the Bay to work on this week. Let's see if I can find a picture of that. Yeah. And By the Bay Needle Arts is in York, Maine, which is where the Nubble Lighthouse is. And I have been to York. I haven't been to the town of York. I've been just off the highway to the Stonewall headquarters, and then from there went up to Ogunquit and took a tour boat shore tour from Perkins Cove to the Nubble Lighthouse. And it was a magical experience for me. So I'm happy to have two different versions, two different interpretations of this lighthouse. This one actually reminds me more of the coastline of Maine. The other one that I started last week reminds me of the feeling that I had being out on the sea in the sunshine and seeing this from this side. So anyway, I got that one started, and I was able to do the windows, some of the windows in the front, and a little bit of the white here. It's going to have a different color around it, so the white will show up more on this cream. So that was the 11th, I believe. And this is my lighthouse bag that I made. And then I made this bag. This is a fabric called Coral Queen of the Sea. And I think it's so cute, and I got quite a lot of it. Here's her face. There were all different designs as part of the series. I really don't have anywhere to use it, but I really have this thing for mermaids. And what I did on this, it was supposed to have been, well, let me show you the picture. I think the picture's in here. I'm also trying to use some of my Tokyo Disneyland souvenirs. I love from Tokyo Disney Store, Tokyo Disneyland. In fact, a lot of the, like I got a bunch of these at the Edo Tokyo Museum. It's a legal size clear folder. And so I decided to use these to work on these projects. Otherwise, I just collect them and look at them. Anyway, this is another Soda Stitch piece. It's called Mermaid Kingdom. And the called for fabric was this brown, and I just couldn't make myself do it. Not with the beautiful blues that are around to use. So I got this one, and I don't think it has, I don't think it's Haven. It's a little bit different, and it doesn't have a sticker left on it. But I did manage. And what I was afraid of absolutely happened. This castle, what's in the middle is the castle, the sand castle, mermaid castle. And the first color on it is the white. And so I am stitching the white, and it's hard to see on the blue. And when I get to the blue turrets on here, it's also going to be hard to see on this blue. So I'm gonna have to do some back stitching, I think, when the time comes. But I at least got it started, and I think it's just going to be a happier stitch all the way around if I'm doing it on the blue. And if I have to back stitch to make it really show up, then I will. But I didn't feel right about this kind of brownie color. And that was another one where I was like, oh, I'm so tired right now. I want to go to bed, but I don't want to not start. If I don't start, I make myself double up the next day, and that's okay. But I just had a lot going on this week, especially with Rosie in the house, and have to I was always kind of on guard about where she was going to be, and did she bring her mother? They're scary. Opossums are scary, especially mothers with their backs full of babies. They have this pointy mouth with lots of sharp teeth, and they hiss at you. Open their mouths and hiss, and yeah, it makes you kind of back up. They're actually very docile, and very cute to me and pretty when they're clean. So this clean little baby was just so darling. What have I got floating in here? Uniform blue. I needed that for another one too. Oh, this is my Mother of the Ocean stuff. I put it in the wrong thing. Okay. Let me get that in the right place. Oh, because that's what I'm looking at. Where is my... Huh. Okay. Duh. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. But I have these moments. All right, so here is the original chart. It was a download and print. And then, or is that my working copy? Something's missing here. Doesn't surprise me, because that's just where I live right now. Oh, these are my working copies of the chart. Well, I know that I showed it in the preview, but let me just take a little quick look through here and see if I got stuck on something else. Oh no, I know where it is, because that was one of the ones I had to take into the needle workshop. All right, so I'm just going to show you what I did. This was the parchment that I found for it, and there's a row up along the top. It's a border, and then it says Mother of the Ocean in there, and I just figured out where I wanted, what part of this fabric I wanted to show. It worked out perfectly that I would be able to have these watermarks where I wanted them. So that's where it's going to start. And then I got this part of the border done up here as my start. Once I don't like working from the middle, but once I start, you know, I get counted out on the middle. Usually I can make my way up to where I want to start, which is in the upper left-hand corner. But you kind of have to go with the flow, don't you? All right, coral goes in here. Yeah, this was the bag that I made for Mother of the Ocean. And this was Parchment, and I got this from Stitchery Express, and there was no more excited. This is the fourth piece of fabric that I bought for this, and when this showed up and it was so perfect, I said, oh, lifelong customer now. That's what you have. All right, so that and that. And these. So I ordered more ordered more floss for that, plus I was able to get some at the L&S. And then yesterday, this was the last one I did. I've been a Holly Hobby fan my whole life, so I made this bag just to do it, just to have a Holly Hobby bag. And then decided to put something in it that was really self-indulgent for myself. And I picked this one, and I was going to put it in on May 22nd, which is exactly a month before my birthday, and so that was going to be a big birthday celebration. But stuff didn't come in, and I have 2 more charts that I had to push toward the end into next week in hopes that that fabric will come in. So we'll see how it goes. But the one I'm doing for this day, and let me try to get it where I'm not showing you the chart. Here. This was cross stitch crazy, and it's a narwhal, and it says, be so awesome people think you're a myth. And it's in the colors that I want to have in my guest room, and so I want to finish this on white. These are the colors. I have most of them. It's using some of the DMC. Is this the Etoile? I think so. Or the Light Effects. I don't know which one it is. what's this one? Light Expressions, do they call it? Whatever. Yeah, and I wanted it on the white, just like it is on here. So that I worked on last night, late-ish, late for me anyway, and managed to get, it goes really fast. This is another one that has long sections of the same color, yay. Managed to get kind of that middle swirl, this one here. Managed to get it in there. And that's a really nice starting point for anything else. I can count really well from that. So that was this week's Mania. I think this is the Light Expressions. I'm loving it. I'm loving the Mania experience. I really liked kitting everything up. I don't see myself doing it again next year, mostly because I don't have confidence I'm going to finish everything here before next year. But at the same time, I am, and I've said this before, I know, really loving just saying, okay, 7 o'clock, I'm done. I go, I take my shower, I put my jammies on, I get into my recliner, and I can stitch until 10, which is usually a 2.5 hour, maybe 2.5 hours. So that's been lovely, and I can see myself doing that. And if I can kind of, like I know Shores of Hawk Run Hollow is a really big priority for me. So if I can be working on that for an hour a night and then working in some of these other pieces, Mother of the Ocean I really want to get done, Mermaid of Salem Bay I really want to get done. There are some Halloweens coming up. I have Christmas ones coming up that week of the where the 25th falls, and then after that I have another right around that. So Christmas week will end, I believe, on the 25th, and then I pick up with Halloween. Disney's doing a promotion right now called Halfway to Halloween, and so I'm looking at this Mania being kind of a halfway to Halloween mark to start, and I think I have 5 or 6 different Halloween projects in there to start. So some of those I'd like to get done, and then also I'd like, these aren't part of Mania, but I want to get at least a couple of these done by Christmas, and would really like to have these be kind of my quicker and easier brain breaks and wrist breaks, hand breaks throughout the year. So yeah, cross stitching stacking up really well for me. I don't have anything else to share. That'll be it for today. Stay well. Stay happy. Stay sane. Unlike me. Bye.